Now, back to what we were saying. If the problem you don't understand it, the solution you come up with will be wrong. And the action that you take will be wrong. You will never find the solution and you will stay stuck in the problem. Now, when it comes to your drinking, do you have a little problem? What is it? Say, I don't have a damn clue. Because that's the truth. Now, I know you've tried solution after solution after solution, huh? To a problem you do not understand. Now, have any of your solutions worked? Do you know why? That's correct. Once somebody identifies what the problem actually is, the solution falls right in their lap. And then you couldn't keep them from taking the plan of action. People who don't understand the problem, not very interested in, and they will never do the plan of. Now, what's your favorite thing? If I put every drug, and alcohol's a drug, the oldest known drug on the face of this earth, and I told you, girl, go pick your favorite one, what would you pick? What?
Alcohol.
What kind?
Tobacco.
Okay. Every time that you take the first drink and you put it in the system, right? Something in your body happens. They refer to it as a physical allergy. Now, do you have this allergy? How do you know?
I don't know.
I know you don't. This is how you know. Every time you put that in, if you have that, it will set off a physical craving for another one. Now, does that happen to you?
Yes.
Okay. And every time you put one in, you set off the physical, and your body says more. And the more you put in, the more your body actually, and the more your body craves, the more you have to put in. Now, once you do this, do you go and go and go and go like the Energizer Bunny until you run out, pass out, get locked up, or somebody stops you? Is that what happens?
Yes.
You know what they call those, right? They call those well-known sprees. Every time you hit the first one, do you set that off? And does your body say what?
I need it.
More. And the more you hit, the more your body craves. And the more your body craves, the more you have to hit it. Do you keep ending up on those? What do you use? Okay. Every time you hit the pipe, do you set that off? And does your body say more? Do you keep ending up on those? Do you use what kind? Okay, same thing. Every time you do that, do you set that off? Does your body say more? Now, do you keep ending up on them? I'll put that pen down. I want you to listen. Now, how many of y'all in this room have come up off a bad spree before? And you sang the Alcoholics National Anthem. Do you know what the Alcoholics National Anthem is? That's the Alcoholics National Anthem. I will never do that shit again. Now, how many times have you said that? And did it again? Look, how many of y'all have said this before? I am done. And when you say it, I promise you, you mean it. How many times have you sat and this little bitty, itty, shitty, bitty committee of yours up here is going, boom, boom, boom. But what keeps coming to you loud and clear is, this will never end well. Now, how many of y'all, when y'all come up off a bad spree, down here you try to live in your own skin sober for a little while? And that shit is miserable. So down here, when you're trying to stay sober, do you start to get irritable? Do you start to get restless? Do you get very discontented? And when you do, you start a little buildup between your ears. This thing starts working on you. It's called a mental obsession. And once it takes hold, it's over with. It overrules everything. Kids, freedom, dog, job, sisters, hamsters. And this is what the obsession tells you. Hey, man, you need some relief. Now, when you're feeling all of this, guess what you probably need? Some relief. Now, does the obsession tell you you fixing to screw shit up again? No. It just lets you see the right here that if you put one in, you're going to get some relief. Now, what's the longest little time you stayed sober here recently? Okay. First month. Second month. Did these booger bears start working on you? That third month. Did you go, I need some relief? Now, when you put the first one in after 3 months, did you go? When you put the first one in, what did you get? Some relief. Now, if you could have stayed there, we wouldn't be talking, would we? But when you put that in and you got the relief, would you set off? Did you end up back on one of them? And when you came up for air, did you go, I can't believe I did this again? Look, how many of y'all have this physical part in your body that every time you put one in, it's over with? And you have this obsession where you cannot stay completely sober. Now, if you have the obsession, that means you cannot stay stopped. And if you have the allergy, once you put one in, you can't control how much you're going to use. So these two things have rendered you. Now, the very first one that I dump in, I put it in my system, it equals 1 unit of craving. So physically, I have to put the second one in. And when I dump the second one in, the craving, when I put the second one in, the craving now has doubled. So physically, I have to put the third one in. And when I dump the third one in, the craving now has tripled. So physically, I have to put, now the craving has quadrupled. I actually crave more after the fourth one than I did after. Now, I want you to listen to that. If you get nothing else out of today, I got to rethink some shit. The first one that you put in, it is an act of the mind. From here on, that's an act of body. Now, how many of y'all in here, you cannot quit putting, no matter what you say, no matter what you do, no matter where you go, you always go back to putting the first one in. Now, it's not the 10th or the 20th one that got me. It was, if I never put the first one in, I will never set off. It'll never produce, and I won't end up on, and shit will start to get better for me. Now, February the 3rd, what I have not done in almost 23 years is put, why do you think that is? Because I don't have that anymore. That's been removed. I still have this. I will have the physical part until the day they put dirt on me. Now, if I can do something here and not put, this becomes a moot point. Now, if I don't have the obsession, can I live with the allergy? Yeah, I've been doing it for 23 years. But if I have the obsession and I couple it with, it renders me. How many of y'all are so powerless over the first one? It's pathetic. How many of y'all have used when you really didn't want to? How many of y'all have used more than you intended to use? Now, I drank and I drugged for shit, I don't know, from the time I was about 11 until I was 39. Count them up. About 28 years, give or take. Not one time did I ever say this. Got enough last night. I never said that. Now, there's a lot of nights I had too much, but I never got enough. And the reason I never got enough, I never could satisfy. Now, how many of y'all have had too much in a couple of nights? But how many of y'all, if you're awake and conscious and that shit's in front of you, you would stay on a spree because you can't get enough? Now, the 20th one, the 30th one never got me. It was. Now, why do you keep repeating the act of the first one? Why is that? That's why. How many of y'all, when the obsession kicks in, it overrules the most nearest, dearest thing that you hold sacred in this world? What's the most sacred thing you hold in this world? Okay. When that kicks in, does it overrule your life? Your sisters, your mommy dearest. It overrules everything. And it tells you that you need what? A relief. Now, how many of y'all, when you put the first one in, you go? Now, normal people, whatever the hell that is, if they knew what we got behind this, guess what they would quit asking us? Why you keep doing that? Because they don't get what we get. Now, if you could do one and stop right there, I don't see anything wrong with it. But your problem, my problem is I can't do one because I have, and I can't do none Because of that. Now, how many of y'all you knew you were going to face serious legal, family, financial problems if you used again? And that didn't deter you one iota. Because when that kicks in, it overrules everything. Now, here we go. Gotta listen to this, Linda. If you have the obsession and the allergy, these two things together make you. Now, I don't have this anymore. It's been removed. So guess what I'm not today? Now, am I still an alcoholic?
Yes.
Wow. This is what makes me alcoholic. If I take this and combine it with this, that's what makes me powerless. Look, if you don't understand what I just said, you're really not grasping. Now, what makes me powerless? The obsession coupled with. Now, what makes me alcoholic? The allergy. Now, you use what? What? Now, you use what? Now, how many of y'all get caught up in the form of alcohol you use? If I dropped you off on a deserted island for 6 months, a lot of people would be happy, huh? And I gave you 6 months worth of food and a bag full of heroin. When I came back to get you, would all the food be gone? Yeah. Would every grain of heroin be in that bag? Huh? Yes. I would bet my house it wouldn't be. Because when this thing kicked in on that island and you got irritable, restless, and discontented enough, all this thing would remember is ease and that baggie would start to look real appealing. And when you put the first one in, guess what you would set off? You'd snort all that shit up and then look for some fucking sand to start snorting. What's your favorite? Net. Now, if I put you on the island, 6 months worth of food and a case of vodka. When I came to get you, all the food quite naturally would be gone, right? Would every bottle be in that case unopened? I would bet my car.
I got kidney disease.
Huh?
I can't drink. I got kidney disease.
Yeah, well, it ain't stop you from doing that.
No, it can't. But if I drink a little bit, I end up dying.
Yeah, well, guess what bet has in it? It's got denatured alcohol in it. Did you know that? How many of y'all get caught up in the form? I don't drink. I smoke crack. I don't drink. I do heroin. I don't do heroin. All I do is drink. I guarantee you, if you can't get your hands on your favorite thing, you will get so irritable, so restless, so discontented. This thing will tell you you need some relief. I could put a bag of green rat turds in front of some of y'all and tell y'all if you smoked them, it'd do the same thing as crack. And guess what you'd be doing? Look, how many of y'all say, I don't do that. how many of y'all, you can get your hands on your favorite thing? That's why you don't do that. But I promise you, if you couldn't get your hands on your favorite thing and they put that in front of you, you may not do it at that second. But when that thing started working on you, it would overrule everything. Now, again, what makes me powerless? The obsession coupled with the allergy. What makes me alcoholic? The allergy. Now, if you have this little problem, the good news for you is there is a. Now, this is only as good as your understanding of. Look, I have people who have been through treatment with me and can repeat this shit like a parakeet. But they really just don't understand it. How long you been around the program called Alcoholics Anonymous? Has this ever been explained to you? Yeah. Can you repeat it? But do you really understand it? If you did, you would do exactly what the first 103 pages of that book say. And it don't say stop, hit, start. It says continue, duck, all through the book. Now, did you do that? Look, how many of y'all come through here? We explain this to you and you go, damn, that makes sense. And most of y'all get this part. That's because you're an alcoholic like me. But with most of y'all, it goes, what? Now, how many of y'all have said, after a spree before, I am, how many of y'all? You were trying to do something humanly impossible, and that is remove. You can't. If you could, the very first time you said, I'm done, you would have been done. This is so powerful. It's going to take a power greater than you to remove it. Now, the first time I go through treatment, I get this part. But what went right over my head is how powerful that was. So I get out of treatment the first time. And I go to a bunch of these. Look. But I do nothing over here really, like the book says. 6 months in, guess what starts working on me again? Guess what gets through? Guess what I do? Guess what I sell? And when I come up there a couple of months later, I went, how in the hell did this happen to me again? Now, the second time in, I got this. I got it. So when I get out, not only do I go to a bunch of these, I do exactly the first 103 pages of the book say. And I've been doing it for about 23 years now. And I don't let off, I don't stop, and I don't rest, and I don't wait, and I don't stop, and I don't bark. I'm fussing that. How many of y'all have made the mistake of getting out of treatment and going to meetings, but doing nothing over here? That's because you really did not understand. Yeah, the fellowship. Going to the meetings, and the meetings are great. The meetings are important because this is what they do for somebody new in here. They give you a lot of. Now, 23 years later, guess what I still go to? Yeah, you know why? I don't go looking for that. I go to give it. But I can't keep it unless I give it away. Now, after all this time, I continue to do what that book says. And what's happened as a result of that? Now, these two things, you put them together, a good balance. You can't be heavy on one or the other. Got to be a good balance. If you ever get that, you're going to tap into something you never fucking dreamed possible. And when you do, it's going to do some shit for you that you couldn't do for yourself. Now, you cannot know. You do not know. You can't know what you don't know. Now, I never knew. I was never tapped into this until I actually tapped into it. And once I actually tapped into it, what occurred to me was I never had been tapped into it. I had been running on self the whole time. Doing what I want, when I want, and how I want. Now, if somebody asked you, how many AAs are there? What would you say? Huh?
AAs?
Okay, he says 1,000. What would you say? Okay, she says a lot. Says million. Huh? Huh? There's two AAs. Look, there's the fellowship in AA, and there's the program of AA. And those are two distinctly different things. And most of y'all get them very confused. The fellowship is in the meetings. Steps are in the book. Fellowship in AA, there's the program of AA. Now, how many of y'all have done just one? If you did just one, it would be like hitting a pipe without no crack. It would be like hitting that meth pipe with no meth in it. I know. So I said that. Look, how many of y'all in here? Y'all come in a place like this, you get out, and all you do is go to. You fall flat on your face because this thing gets you again, and you say, that AA shit don't work. How would you know? You never did it. You just carried your ass to some people like me who do this and do this. Tap into some of this. And once they do, they want more and more and more. Now, what we told you is we gave you, you got to decide which one do you want more. Now, up to this point in your little life, what you've been deciding you want more of is to stay there. Now, how many of y'all over here You do a lot of shit you don't want to do. How many of y'all lie, cheat, steal, rob, pillage? If I come over here, I'm going to have to do some shit I really don't. Look, I'm telling you now, if you stay here, you're going to do some shit you do not want to do. And if you come over here, you're going to do some shit you don't want to do. So guess what the hell you fixing to do? Yeah, you just got to figure out, do you want these results? Do you want these? Now, you've got a little taste of these, hadn't you? Is that what you want? I'll leave you with one choice then, Doug. Now, they give you the problem, give you the solution. They tell you, decide which one you want. Now, if I asked y'all which one you wanted more, you would say what? The spouse. Now, do you think I would believe him? Hell no. He would have to show me by his actions. Look, if you're anything like me, when I got here, people don't want to hear anything out of my mouth. Nothing. They want to see something. Now, let's say you say, I've decided I want to get out of this problem, right? And come over here and join y'all, right? How do you do that? How do you go from here to here and carry out your decision? How do you do that? Bring down you. I'm shocked. Now, how many of y'all in here, when the book starts asking you to do something, y'all balk? You remember I told you you're going to do some shit you don't want to do? Either here or, see, for you to get over here, you got to do some shit you really don't want to do. And most of y'all in this room, this is where y'all balk. How many of y'all in here did some shit you don't want nobody to know your ass did it? How many of y'all some shit's happened to you don't want nobody to know? See what a lot of y'all do? When we put the 4-step papers in front of you, it paralyzes you. Now, what sets this treatment center apart from a lot of other ones, we give you the opportunity to do this. We can't make you. See, but we can make you thirsty enough for one or the other. Now, the first time I went through and they put the 4-step papers in front of me, do you think I was thorough and honest? Well, no, why would I do that? Because I really didn't understand how, really wasn't interested in, because I thought I already had it. Now, I know none of y'all in here are like that. Now, after getting my ass thoroughly whooped by drugs and alcohol, I became as open-minded as the dying can be. And the second time they put these papers in front of me, the shit I didn't want nobody to know is the first shit that went down there. And when I finally got honest with another one of God's children, God said, I think he's ready. fixing to help my boy out. I'm gonna take that obsession away from him. See, the first time when I didn't get thorough and honest, he went, my boy ain't ready. I'm gonna leave that obsession planted right here. I'm gonna get him ready. Look, I'm telling you, you come through this treatment center, this is explained to you. You don't do this and you go back, start doing this, it'll never be the same. It will never, ever be the same. Because the difference now is, you know what's fixing to happen when you put. When I went back out after the first time, I'm holding a big old cookie in my hand. And I'm going, this ain't gonna fucking be enough. Before I started, I knew this would not be. Now, give you the problem. We give you. And they show you in the big book how to take these action steps. Now, if somebody asked you, right, what do these steps do right here? What would you say? What do they do? It's okay if you don't know. You probably don't, huh? Okay. Oh, hold on. What do they do? You're right there. Do you know what they do? What? Well, yeah. But look, when somebody takes these steps right here, it removes. And when self out the way, guess what I flow into? In the last 3 steps that I do every day, keep that out the way. When self's removed, I flow into some power. And people who get a taste of it won't. And people that never get a taste are sober, and that's it. Fucking miserable. You ever heard of so dry? Huh? You ever heard of sobriety? People who just are sober, that's so dry. People who are tapped into that, that's so dry. How many of y'all have got out of treatment and you had some damn good sobriety? You were so miserable, people went, hey, buy you a drink? You look like you need one. Look, I'm telling you, if you don't do anything here, just go here, you're going to be one of the most miserable people. Now, you think people don't want to be around you when you're using? Get sober. Stay miserable. They really ain't going to want to be around your ass. Now, this is the way I look at the steps. I look at them in 3 sections. 1, 2, and 3. That put me in a position to do something. And this has put me in a position to start living again. Now, I look at 1, 2, and 3 like this. Get ready. Get set. Go. Nothing happens until I take. Now, I tell people all the time, these steps got me out of hell. And these have made sure I'm going. How many of y'all ain't lived in a long time? How many of y'all just been existing? What's your first name? Say it. Where are you from? Where at? I won't hold that against you. What'd you use? How many treatments? Do you know anything about the 12 steps? Okay. You know a lot about that. Okay. Now, the results you get from that, how well you love it. Okay. 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 So not too good. So you want some different results, and you got to do something different. No, that's why I said that. You're in the right place if you want some help. But that's the key. You gotta want it. More than anything else. You keep ending up places you don't want to be. The institution called the penitentiary. I put myself. Didn't say it wasn't. Just asked you, do you keep ending up places you don't want to be? So that would be yes. Okay. Do you in the penitentiary with people you don't want to be with? Okay. And do you stay longer than you want to stay? You know how I know how fun that is? Yeah. And this is what I know. I didn't know nothing. What I know now. You want some help? Okay. Y'all turn y'all's big books to page 45. They gave you a big book? So you ain't got to serve me. I put my pants on just like you. I know, me too. But you was raised to say, sir, you was raised not to break the law then. Huh? Come on now. I know, that's why I said that. Yeah, I was raised. Boy, you fucking show it. Ah, bullshit. That's your excuse for doing it. Look, you ever heard it? Look, after I tell you this, I just got bigger fish to fry today. Yeah. Have you ever heard this old saying, it's easy as hell to get into trouble? Sure. It's hard as hell to get out. Do you read okay? Huh? You just can't read them damn signs that say don't drink and drive. Start reading the first paragraph down. Read it louder than her. Now, did it say lack of a job was your dilemma? Did it say lack of a man was your dilemma? A woman? Bling bling. A car? It says lack of. Now, I want you to look up here. If I'm lacking power, I am powerless. Now, it says that was my what? Dilemma. A dilemma means I got two choices, and I don't like either one. Look, this boils down to you having two choices. You don't like either one. Look, how many of y'all want to go back out and get everything and worse than you've been getting? Any volunteers? How many of y'all, if there was another way you could have did this without doing this, you'd have signed up for that instead of doing this? So you have two choices, powerless or, and you don't like either. So what they call that is a fucking dilemma. Now I want you to listen to what he's going to try to read. Go.
Had to find a power by which we could live.
Now, how many of y'all have not lived in a long time? You've been existing, and that shit sucks. It sucks so bad. You have to put something in you to change the way you feel. Now, I want you to listen to this. It says you had to find a power, what? Now, go, read it. Had to find the power.
by which we could live,
Go.
and it had to be a power greater than ourselves.
Now, do you know what kind of writing that is? That scriggly ass writing? Huh? Yeah. That's what educated people call it. You know what those drunks call it? Drunk ass writing. When somebody puts that kind of writing in a book, it's very, very important. Now, what did they tell you? It had to be a power, not equal or less, but greater. Now, I'm gonna give you permission to look around in the room. You see any powers less than you in here? Huh? Do you see any powers greater than you in here? I see a lot of powers equal to me. See, they're telling you that ain't gonna work. It's gonna have to be a power greater. Now, when somebody puts that kind of writing in a book, they're trying to make a point to you, a very important one. Now, they're gonna follow that shit up with a one-word sentence. When somebody puts a one-word sentence in a book, they're trying to make the point they just fucking made to you. Now, this is the way I read it. It had to be a power greater than ourselves. And then it says, no, hell no. It says, hey, dumbass. Obviously. Now, I want you to listen to what he's going to try to read to you. Go.
Where and how do you find this power?
Question mark. So guess what they're going to tell you? Where and how. If you're not interested in that, you're in the wrong institution again. Go.
Well, that's exactly what this book is about.
Son of a bitch.
Oh.
Let me see your book since you ain't going to use it. Look, how many of y'all get this book when you first come in here? And it says Alcoholics Anonymous. And you think this book is about alcoholism. This book actually has nothing to do with alcoholism. The only reason they talk about the shit is to get you to see where you're really at. And once you see it, they spring the main purpose of the book on you. Now, if somebody asked you, do you know the best-selling book that's ever been put on paper, and it ain't fucking Harry Potter? What do you think the best-selling book that's ever been put on paper is? Huh? Yeah. You know why? The most spiritual book that's ever been put on paper. You know the second best-selling book that's ever been put on paper? Yeah. You know why? It's the second most spiritual book that's ever been put on paper. This is actually the dumbass's version of the bigger book called the Bible. How many of y'all have no idea what that book is actually for? And if you use something for what it's not designed for, it won't work. And most of y'all use that book in each step to try to stay sober. And that's not what they're for. The steps are designed to tap me into a power. And if you ever tap into it, what you're going to want is
More.
more. And what's going to occur to you one day is how blind I have actually been. That's what's going to occur to you. Comments? Questions? Question or comment? Go. Okay. All right, now listen now. Okay. When you get ready to do something wrong, right? You know it's wrong. Do you hear a little voice say, don't do it? Now, if it's something you really want to do, then you block that voice out and do what? Now, when you do what you want to do, knowing it's wrong, do you face consequences? And does the voice come back a little louder the second time and say, I told you not to do that? Now, the first voice that you hear that says, girl, don't do that, has it always been right? Okay, so that proves there's no way it could be your conscience. Because there's only one entity in this universe that's always right. And that's the fundamental idea of God. Now, when you block that first voice out and do what you want, that's your conscience. How many of y'all, if y'all would listen to that first voice every time, your life would be grand?
Yes.
Check this one out. When you were coming up, you had a dream. You had an aspiration of something you wanted to become. Now, how tall are you? Yeah. Well, have stilts on. Look, if she told me when I grew up I wanted to be the center for the Los Angeles Lakers, I would go, well, good fucking luck with that. I want you to tell me something plausible. Everybody had a dream. What'd you want to become? What? Okay, what'd you want to be? Okay, what'd you want to be? What'd you want to be? Now, let's just say for shits and giggles, every time you heard that voice, you were this high when it said, hey, don't do that. Let's say you'd have listened to it every time. What are the chances you'd have had an opportunity to be a horse trainer? Pretty good, huh? What'd you say? What are the chances you would have been successful in the military? Yeah. You know who else wants you to do that? God. That's who put that idea in your head. And every time you got ready to stray from the path, he said, hey, dumbass, do that. How many of y'all are mad as hell at God for the way your life turned out? And the whole way he's been going, hey, don't do that. And you won't listen. And your life's in shambles and you're mad at him. He's going, they're telling you. You just won't listen. Because look, you're always doing what? So if I can get this out of the way, I tap into, and right and wrong ain't no biggie for me no more. And guess where I'll end up? Get attention. Did y'all hear what I asked him? How many of y'all keep ending up places you do not want to be? With people you don't want to be with. And you have to stay longer than you want to stay. That sucks. And nobody can live life like that. And the crazy part about the whole thing is, look, he's probably further along than most of y'all. At least he said, it's my fault. How many of y'all, it ain't never your fault? It's excuse after excuse after excuse after excuse. Y'all ever seen a bumper sticker that says shit happens? Guess what? Shit happens. It's how you deal with it. That's the quality of your life's based on. Now, How many of y'all, when shit happens? Pour me, pour me, pour me another drink. Or when shit happens, it takes the same amount of effort to be the victim as it does to be. So if your life is a complete and utter disaster, it's all right. You still down in detox? They moved you? Okay. How many of y'all are in detox? Just you two? Rest of y'all are in a house, right? Okay. How many of y'all are still in detox? None of y'all? Y'all pack up, y'all head out.